The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my own body from the multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally, cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, everything from medical to cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy, these experiences led us to discover the recipe that became known as the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox, cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-Day Healing Retreat. We have helped thousands of people just like you get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. If you want to know what that looks like, go to livingwaterscleanse.com and click on the video 4 Natural Laws of Healing, or call the office at 208-378-9911. Hello and good morning. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Living Waters Wellness Center is Idaho's largest colon hydrotherapy center and is known for its 10-day healing retreat. Each week we provide you with necessary education and tools to detoxify and heal the body, following the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. To learn more details about the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, go to livingwaterscleanse.com and click on the 4 Natural Laws of Healing. If you missed any parts of this show and you want to re-listen to it, to certain segments, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. That's the Whole Body Detox Show. You can find it on any of the national platforms or go directly to wholebodydetoxshow.com. Today I brought a guest in the office who is a doula. And if you never know what a doula is, we're going to be talking about birthing. So today I've got Karina Bishop. Karina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, welcome. So a lot of people haven't heard of it. It's becoming more popular. I remember back in 1990, actually before that, we decided our second child we would have at home.
That's wonderful.
Using midwives. And back then, there was only 3 of them in the town.
Correct.
Now there's a whole bunch of you guys.
Yes.
Everywhere. So we were told we were crazy. My wife had a C-section in 86, and they said, no, you can't do that. You can't have a B-back, as they call it, a vaginal delivery after a C-section. You got to just have another C-section, which of course is a lot more money and not as fun for the baby and mama. So my wife, very smart, and of course she runs our 10-day healing retreat, and she says, nope, I'm going to do this at home. And so we did.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about a doula. How did you become a doula? What brought you to that? To do that?
Well, my first baby was born in 2006, and I used a doula for my birth. And after she was born, I just thought to myself, that must be the most rewarding, wonderful job in the world. So I became a doula that year. My first client was my brother, actually. I was there for the birth of my niece, and I just kind of jumped right into it. And it's been a fantastic, rewarding job. I love it.
So what's the difference between a doula and a midwife?
So the midwife actually does anything that's medically necessary. They actually catch the baby and care for the mother in that way. The doula is there. There's actually 5 facets to being a doula, and that would be physical, emotional, informational, advocacy, and partner support. So we kind of do whatever the mom needs, whatever the partner needs, to just help make the experience more positive as possible, more comfortable as possible, and to help them achieve the type of labor and birth that they were hoping for.
Yeah. So since those days, back in those days, I don't believe there was a birthing center anywhere in the valley. I could be wrong, but I don't think there was. So would you go to a birthing center with them, or would you do it in the home only, or would you go a hospital as well?
Yes, I go to all 3. Wherever they're birthing, hospital, birth center, or at home. I do all 3.
So you're kind of the coach then?
Correct.
Okay. How do you, so you said the midwife does more of the medical stuff. So you would team up with a midwife group as well?
Yes. So when I work with them, I'm hired independently. And so I go with the client wherever she's birthing. And then I do help with midwifery, or with the nurses, with the doctors, with simple things that they might need me to do for them. Again, doulas do not do anything medically, but we just kind of help assist and, again, just make it a more positive experience for the couple. So
if you are classified as, say, high risk,
mm-hmm.
and they say, you've got to have this at the hospital,
mm-hmm.
They still a doula is a good thing to have?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Especially if it's high risk.
Okay. Tell me why.
That's going to be a lot more emotional support probably. Mom's already concerned if she's high risk and they're going through a lot of, mental stuff. And so we're just kind of there to help ease their minds and calm them and, just help with that aspect in that situation mostly. Or any, again, physical comfort measures that will help if she is actually laboring and in discomfort.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you, I guess, when does the midwife then enter? If you're teamed up with them, I see, so what I hear you're saying is you're more the cheerleader. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's going to be fine.
Right.
Breathe.
Correct.
Take a step. My daughter, she just had her baby boy a couple of years ago, so she had a doula and a midwife group. Mm-hmm. So how do you have a team of midwives that you like to work with, or do they choose that on their own as a
So client? The couple chooses me.
Okay.
Yes. There are a lot of midwives and doctors that I've worked with that I really enjoy working with, but I am not hired by them. So the couple, usually most couples will interview a few different doulas, decide which one is working for them, and then we'll meet the provider if we haven't met them before. Okay. And just kind of, I quite often meet my moms in their homes first so they can labor at home as long as possible. It's more comfortable in their own atmosphere.
Right.
And then when it's time for them to go to the hospital or birth center, then I meet them there and then continue on with the rest of the labor.
Well, I think, you mentioned comfort. So when my wife, we had our first child down at the hospital, there was just a lot of intervention offered.
Correct.
And she felt like, I need to be standing to deliver this baby. Mm-hmm. And of course, they put her on her back, hooked her up to all the monitors, gave her Pitocin. Mm-hmm. For those of you who experienced that, that's not a very good, not a fun process.
Right.
So they were trying to induce birth. They got kind of freaked out. Looking back, that shouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. But, we didn't know, right? As first-time parents. But then we got educated. We took the Bradley method classes.
That's a great one.
Yeah, really good. And that was just opened up our eyes to what? There's this whole other world of how we can deliver our baby.
Yeah.
So we had our second child at home, and actually, it was amazing. It was completely different.
Yes. My
wife was actually kneeling when she delivered the baby, and I got to catch it, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember it vividly. It was an incredible day. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that would be a part of the informational support from a doula, because I meet with my clients beforehand, and so that we can go over some of these things so they understand what Pitocin means,
right?
What breaking the waters means, what these interventions mean if they are having a hospital birth. And in that way, I always, some of them, that's what they want. I'm there to help assist with whatever the client wants, knowing that it doesn't always go that way. But at least they're armed with the information. So if it does come down to the doctor saying, we're going to give you Pitocin, I advise them to ask, what are the benefits, what are the risks, and what are the alternatives? So they feel empowered.
Right.
And that's part of my job.
Well, that's probably got to be a great feeling for a mother, especially a brand new mother, having someone on their team that they trust.
Correct.
To say, hey, there's other options. Because I got to imagine, I remember for us, I don't know how we found the OBGYN that we did, but it was probably on some friend says, hey, you should go use this group or whatever. And you kind of get hooked in and you don't know. And I remember going to the hospital going like, what? You want them to only suck on ice and you don't want them to eat anything during the whole...
That's changing these days.
It was like, I just thought at the time, I thought, holy hell, what if it's a long delivery and they're thirsty? And you don't want them to eat. And our last birth was, my gosh, 32 hours of labor, and my wife was downing supplements overdrive, and she was 40 years old at that time.
Yes, yeah.
I can't imagine trying to. I think Michael's birth, because he had his hand up, he didn't want to come out. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Michael's had his hand up, and it was like forever. Finally, the midwives figured it out and reached in there and changed the things. But looking back, I think that would have been, they probably would have did a C-section on her.
Probably very
if she would have been in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But we had him at home as well. Mm-hmm. He took a while to come to Earth, that's for sure. That day she was tired. In fact, today's his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday,
24 years later.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just remember that. Wow, what a different experience. Because like you say, you're in your home, you're in your own environment. Mm-hmm. makes a heck of a difference
It certainly does.
on the psyche of the mother, and of course the whole family. You know, my daughter was there, Amanda, and she got to watch the whole thing. And
That's wonderful. It
Yeah.
can be a lot more peaceful that way.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, and, you know, I think Amanda and Larissa, I mean, because of that, and Michael too, because, you know, both the girls were there watching Michael be born, and they became his little mamas.
Yes.
You know, they were 9 and 12, and
Oh, that's wonderful.
yeah, oh, we got a new doll to play with.
Yes.
And they had to hold them immediately, and just what amazing experience that was for us. But I remember back in 1990 or 89 when we were contemplating doing this and taking the classes, all my friends were saying, "Oh my God, you're crazy! You know, she could die." And I think, God, we're like 5 minutes from a hospital. I mean,
Right.
yeah, if we need to do that, we can do that. Hey, we'll be talking with Karina Bishop, a doula. We're talking about how to have a birth at home or wherever you want with some extra expertise. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with some more about having a birth. Now, I'm here today talking to Karina Bishop. She's a doula. And a doula is someone, she's the cheerleader
Yes.
for the mother and the dad as well.
Correct.
Yes. So she's talking about how that all works, and we on the last section. So a couple of questions I had, and we didn't, of course, have this option back in the day. We had just 3 midwives
Correct.
in town, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a gal that was she was actually the one who took us to the Bradley birthing method.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't go through the hospital. I just remember what a completely different thing. I was so educated on what was going to happen, where the first time I felt like
You just kind
totally
of went
clueless.
along with it. Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I was like, what the hell are we doing next? And
Right.
again, I was still blown away by what? Ice? I mean, I still, to that day, that burned my brain like, this is crazy. So anyway, so are you usually the first call when a mother says, hey, I want a coach, I want to help? Or will they go find a midwife, or is it vice versa? Do you get referrals from midwives? How does it all work?
All of that. Actually, I've been hired day of. Sometimes the midwifery center used to call me, we've got someone in labor, she needs a doula, like now. So I'd head right in.
Well, why couldn't they just do it all?
Well, I think some couples go into it thinking they're going to be just fine. They've taken birthing classes, they don't need a doula. And then once they're in the moment, realize like, oh, how beneficial it could have been. And so that's when I get the call from the midwives. But I've also been hired before women are even pregnant. That's usually for my moms who I've already attended their first or second birth. They want me for the next ones, and they'll call and say, hey, I'm starting to try. Are you available next summer?
Right.
And anywhere in between. But I'd say typically it's between 5 to 7 months of
Okay.
pregnancy that I get hired.
Now, would you go visit with them like in the early days? Let's say, okay, I'm pregnant. I'm 5 weeks along or whatever they determined. Do you start like meet with them once a month, once every 2 months, once a week? What's that look like?
Yeah, so initially I do a free consultation. We meet, depending on how far along they are. Like you said, if they're in early pregnancy, at that point in time, we're just kind of in touch by phone, by email, if they have questions, whatever. If they want to meet with me, I'm fine with that.
Right.
Every once in a while, if I have a mom who has a lot of fear and concern,
Right.
I have attended her birthing classes with her. I am willing to do that for someone, especially for single moms, somebody who doesn't have a partner to attend with them.
Okay.
So it just kind of depends on what their needs are. But typically I do a standard 2 meeting. One is soon after they hire me, and the second being around 37 weeks of gestation.
Okay.
Yes. And then I'm there for labor and birth support. And I do a postpartum meeting with them just to wrap things up, see how they feel about everything, how
Right.
things are going with baby. And then I also am a postpartum doula. So I help moms afterwards if they need help with emotional support, just holding the baby while they take a nap in a shower,
Right.
light housework maybe, again, whatever their needs are.
Well, that's a good point, because some moms come out of birth and they're just taxed and
Yes.
they go into this depression, right?
Yes, exactly. And that is where placenta encapsulation comes in really handy.
Oh my goodness. Placenta encapsulation.
Correct. So I encapsulate their placenta
Yeah.
into a pill form. And when they take that, they reintroduce all those hormones and iron and just all that beneficial stuff back into their body. And
Right.
it helps balance them so they can avoid those baby blues and depression.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was around this area back then, but
I remember some talk of it, I think, when Michael was born in 98.
Mm-hmm. Possibly lightly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
There were some midwives who did it. Now there's a lot more.
I remember we saved the placenta for a while. We froze it.
Uh-huh.
So we must have been thinking of doing it, but we didn't have the education, we didn't have the knowledge.
Right.
And it kind of become one of those things, what's this in the freezer, right?
Right.
It's not cake.
Don't eat that, kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see that. So especially if you're a brand new mother,
Mm-hmm.
you want a buddy that's
Yes.
been down this road a few times. And I'm sure you've seen all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
All kinds of fears that get manifested. Especially, I remember kind of all my buddies, my Rotary Club, and everyone's around. It was like, what are you doing? You can't do that. I mean, it was a ton of fear that was sent our way.
Yes.
We were considered to be the idiots doing this crazy thing, especially because she'd had a C-section.
Exactly, yes.
And you see other people doing VBACs?
Oh, many, yes. And actually, I had a client, I want to say 10 years ago maybe, who had 2 C-sections and wanted a VBAC. And I searched high and low all around the valley for a doctor who would be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Everyone said no, 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 no. And I finally found one. He said, bring her in and we'll make this happen. And she had a beautiful vaginal birth.
Yeah. We had to go. There was only one doctor back in the day that would actually see us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think, and there was another doctor who had he was really good. I can't remember his name right now, but the medical community hated him.
Oh.
He had like 80% of the business.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great birth doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember his name, but we found one person that would work with us on that VBAC birth, that first VBAC birth. And then on the next one, we didn't even get a doctor.
Uh-huh.
We already had the midwives. We knew them. We were familiar with them.
Yeah.
And we just said, hey, team, dial it up. It's going to be about this time. And by that time, of course, we've studied so much.
Mm-hmm.
That was our third birth, but they were great midwives. They were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And now, of course, there's tons of midwives. So if you're out there and you're going to be a new mama, what are some of the questions you need to ask about when you're looking for a doula or a midwife? What would be some of the top questions you need to be asking those people?
Well, I think it depends on the woman. There's everybody's looking for something different. So depending on, if she's single, if she's got a partner, if it's a first baby, whatever. But basically, some of them don't even really know what we do as a doula. So That is always a good first question if you're not unsure of what a doula does. And then moving on to experience level. And that's going to be what's important to the mom. Those of us who are more experienced, I've been a doula since 2006, so I have more of an experience level, but my fees are higher than some of the new doulas.
Right.
And so, again, that depends on what's important to the mom. Maybe mom wants to save some money and give a new doula some work. Maybe experience is really important. And some of that's based on, their past experience with other births or their fear level or whatever. There's so many different things to ask us. But again, that just really depends on what mom is looking for.
Do you get involved in suggesting to them, hey, these are some foods you should be eating? Do you go and counsel them, hey, what are you eating for food right now? Maybe we need to change your diet. You're going to have a better pregnancy if you do. Do you get into those kind of conversations with them?
Not too occasionally. If I have a mom who I can see in their kitchen has a lot of junk food, I might touch on the subject lightly, but I don't get too far into it.
Okay. All right. Well, of course, obviously it makes a big difference, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. A good diet.
Yeah. What do you do if someone's, I remember back in the day, there was a gal in my wife had this play group. There's about 13 moms that would get together. All these births near the same time. And there was a gal that had toxemia.
Okay.
So a toxic body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you take those clients on as well?
Yes, because again, anything to do medically is outside the scope of my work.
Okay.
And so that would be cared for from their doctor or midwife.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. We've been talking to Karina Bishop. She's a doula. So she helps moms bring their baby to earth in more peaceful and with more confidence, I would say. How do they get a hold of you? What's the number to get a hold of you if they want to call you?
My number is 208-869-7268.
Repeat that again.
208-869-7268. 7268.
We'll be back. We're talking about have a fantastic birth with your new baby with the doula expert, Karina Bishop. So we're going to continue talking about this, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. You've been listening to the Whole Body Detox Show. And if you missed any part of this, go over to our podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com. Or if you got the podcast app on your phone, just search Whole Body Detox Show. We'll come up. Subscribe to it, like it, give us a review. We really appreciate that. It helps people find us. And our whole mission here is to help provide you the education to live a better life. You live your best life. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you. We're back. I'm David DeHaas, the host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, who sponsored these shows each week. If you miss any part of this show, you want to go to wholebodydetoxshow.com, and we've got about 72 episodes up now. A lot of variety in those shows. Also, you can catch it over on our website at livingwaterscleanse.com. And again, if you want to learn how to heal the body naturally from within, then we're the experts in that arena. And you want to watch the video 4 Natural Laws of Healing. You want to know the data points on how you're going to turn your body around, get rid of that inflammation, get rid of that soreness. Maybe you've got some brain fog going on. Maybe you've got some psoriasis or acne or you name it. We've had people come in here with all kinds of matters. And on our website at livingwaterscleanse.com, there are 14 pages of success stories. And whether it's been people who can't breathe well, lung issues, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, diverticular. I mean, we've been down the gamut. We've had people carried in here, pushed in here on a wheelchair, and we've had them go out walking and with clear skin and clear brains. So brain fog is usually one of the biggest things we help people overcome here. And again, we got to just get that immune system back into balance. We do that through colon hydrotherapy. So you want to learn about colon hydrotherapy because it's your most inexpensive, highest return on investment health dollar that you'll ever spend. I've seen it over the last 16 years, all the amazing things that's happened with people simply getting that gunk out of their trunk, healing that body naturally. And I'm going to say to you, Karina, one of the best things I would recommend, we see people coming here from time to time that they can't get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
They're having trouble. I'm going to tell you, this is 2 stories. We had a couple of moms. One came in and she was told never going to be able to have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So she went and adopted. Came through the 10-day cleanse. Boom.
Yep.
Babies. 2 of them.
Yep.
And another mother thought like, okay, I'm all done. I'm not going to have any more babies. My wife says, I wouldn't be so sure of that. I think, and she was, I think, past 40. So she's thinking like, yeah, I'm good. I'm done. That's going to happen. Boom, pregnant.
Uh-huh.
So we get the body back to homeostasis, back to balance, get these toxins out of the body. And, the thing is, Karina, most babies come to earth, the average baby, 250 chemicals in their liver.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And I'm sure you see it, jaundice, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So mamas and dads, clean it up before you decide to have a baby. I had some the other day and I said, girl, especially you do not want to go through a pregnancy until you do a 10-day cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
She was I could tell she was severely toxic. You can see it in the skin, see it in I just read her whole body. And really, mamas, you want to have a great delivery, let's cleanse first. Because once you get pregnant, we're not so apt to be able to help you. So anyway, that's, prep your body, prep your liver, get ready, get the great nutrients into your body. Because that's the other thing I see is that a lot of moms, all of a sudden they start to do vitamins once they get pregnant.
Right. No, you
Dude.
should have that folic acid in you for a long time.
Yeah. I have this machine here. It's a scanner, antioxidant scanner, and we can tell where you're nutritionally fit or not. I remember telling my nieces when they were in their teens, I said, do you plan on having babies? Well, yeah, someday. Yeah. Well, not with these scores you're not, because you are, nutritionally deficient. And you have you're making all these eggs at 12, 13, right? You're storing them up. You want those eggs to be healthy. And guys, you want your sperms to be healthy, which brings me up to one thing I want to divert on. Keep your cell phones off your bodies. Men, do not carry in your pocket. I did the episode with Dr. Martin Paul on electromagnetic frequency, Karina. And he says, yeah, it just wrecks the sperm.
I can see that.
Yeah, big time. Okay, so midwives or a doctor. So you could be just simply come in as a help. They're just going to go to the hospital, to a doctor. You could still be their coach.
Yes.
Do you have to get any permissions from the hospital to do that? Or they tell the hospitals, I'm bringing my coach, I'm bringing my buddy?
Yes. So pre-COVID, nothing needed to be said to the hospital, doctors, midwives, or anything. We just come in and then we introduce ourselves as their doula.
Right.
Since COVID, it's been a little more challenging, just due to the fact that the hospitals don't want too many people. So we do have to show proof of our certification status in order to be able to attend the birth alongside the partner, the father of the baby, just to avoid too many people. So there's that, but that's only because of COVID. Otherwise, we just come and introduce ourselves, like I said. And
well, I gotta imagine for a guy that maybe hasn't been too involved. Some guys aren't too involved. You've got to be a big breath of fresh air.
Absolutely. Some of them welcome us greatly. They just are lost. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, you're right. It's a breath of fresh air to have us there to help. And others really want to be involved. They don't exactly know how. And so in those cases, I'm there to facilitate. Instead of giving the mom water, for example, I will give the cup to the father to give her water, and just to help, keep them together as a couple and make him feel like he's being used.
Right. Here, do this. You'll look good.
Pretty much.
Some father's like, I created this, but I have no idea how it's going to come out. Where's my helper?
Right. Yeah. Pretty much.
So anyway, now there's birthing centers in the Valley.
Correct.
What do you see when your clients are they going to birthing centers, or more of them choosing home births today?
I think that's
what do you see?
Shifting quite a bit. When I became a doula in 2006, it was mostly hospital. And there was a couple of birthing centers around here, but it's growing. It's growing. The knowledge and education of natural birth is definitely grown immensely over the last handful of years. And so there's more birth centers, there's more midwives, there's more doulas. I think when I became a doula locally, my little organization had maybe up to 10 of us. And now there's like over 100 doulas in the Valley. It's
no
amazing.
kidding.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
It is. I mean, they're not all active all the time, you know, but they're out there.
So if you're listening to this show and someone wants to become a doula, how do they do that?
So there's different organizations. I'm using the organization DONA, which is Doulas of North America.
Okay.
And there is a local training for that. She does it twice a year, usually in the fall and in the spring. And so you can go through her training. You get online. Everything's online, basically, other than the 4-day training course. You got to read some books, do some paperwork, take some classes. There's a lot of different things if you want to go through the certification process.
Do you have to be a mother to apply?
No, you don't. No.
Do you see non-mothers being doulas?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's several. And a lot of women actually use being a doula as a stepping stone into becoming a midwife or nurse.
Yeah. What's a range of fees for a doula?
They vary greatly. I'd say most of the newer doulas that have just gone through training or in their first couple of years are charging around $600.
Okay. That's cheap.
It's for the service you get. Yes.
Yeah.
It is not a lot of money. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think the top paid doula locally in the Treasure Valley is around maybe $1,300.
Yeah.
So kind of a range in there.
But still, for everything you do, I mean.
Yeah, it's one of the best things you could ever spend your money on.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you just that's a lot of emotional stuff just can be handed off to you.
Absolutely. And for one of the most memorable experiences of your life, you want it to be the best it can be.
Now, are you the filmer? Do people like film it? And you get to film things too, or do they have somebody else come in?
No. Well, it depends. If they want it professional, I am not a professional photographer, but I do take pictures for them if that's what they want.
Well, I had the video cam set up when I was.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. And that's something I discuss with them in our meetings beforehand.
Right.
If they want pictures, video, whatever. Yeah. Just, hand me your phone and I just snap away and
Well, it's amazing how it's changed over the years from just the few midwives I met, and the Leche League teacher and the gal that taught Bradley classes back in the day.
Yeah.
That's
it's
pretty amazing.
Changed.
How many midwives do you think there are in the Valley now?
Oh, I don't even know, because a lot of them are in birth centers. Some of them are home birth only, independently hired. So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't even have a ballpark number.
Huh.
There's quite a few.
Do you see, what kind of a percentage do you see as far as going to hospitals versus the birthing center versus at home?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
I don't know in general what those percentages would be, but for me personally, I think over the last 16 years, my probably 50% hospital, I'd say about 35%.
We've been talking about how to have a birth with a doula. I have a doula expert, Karina Bishop, in the office today. And by the way, if you've missed the previous 3 sections of this radio show, go to our podcast, wholebodydetoxshow.com, or wherever you get podcasts, just type in Whole Body Detox Show and we'll pop up. We've got over 70-some episodes there. Do please like it, subscribe to it, give us a review. We really appreciate that. It helps people find us and become aware as we teach the country to become healthy, one person at a time. So, and by the way, if you want to learn how you heal and get healthy, while over at livingwaterscleanse.com, you want to watch 4 Natural Laws of Healing and memorize it. Well, you don't have to memorize it, but get the gist of how we're going to heal that body naturally. And come down and give us a visit. Reach out to us. The phone number is 208-378-9911, 208-378-9911. And come check us out. We do free consults all the time. But you got to watch that video, the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, before you get in the door. So do watch that, because that's going to answer a lot of questions on how the body works and how we get the immune system boosted and so forth. So, as I mentioned, we're talking to Karina Bishop about having using a doula as part of your birth team. So I'm talking here with Karina Bishop, as I mentioned. And so, Karina, I'm curious, what's one of the most memorable times you've had as a doula?
I'd say my most memorable experience was a client I had. She lived in Sun Valley. She wanted to birth here with the midwives downtown. And so she got a hotel room here for a week or 2 prior to her due date. And when she went into labor, it kind of progressed pretty quickly. By the time I got to the hospital, we were there for about, not the hospital, the hotel. We were there for about 45 minutes before it was time to go. And her contractions were coming on so close together, she could hardly walk a few steps. That there's no way we're going to make it down the elevator, out the door, all the way to her truck. She had her husband with her and everything, and we were trying, but she just kept falling to her knees. So I thought quickly, I ran downstairs and I grabbed a luggage cart.
Yeah.
I came up and I put her on it, hands and knees, and just ran down the hallway pushing this luggage cart with this laboring mom on it, down the elevator, through the lobby, and everybody, of course, stopped and was staring at us. Just felt like, pay no mind, don't look at her, give her some privacy, please.
Right.
And she birthed almost immediately after we arrived at the birth center.
Well, maybe the cart helped with that.
Right, the bumpy ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Anyways, we laugh about it. I've seen her here and there since then, and we always joke about it.
Yeah.
But,
Did she have a baby after that as well? Same protocol?
No, that was her only.
What are some of the other things that you've experienced as a doula in terms of taking, I would call them the baby parents, right? The newbies.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And taking them through the process. What's been some of the oh my gosh, I had no idea moments for the parents? What were what's some of the feedback you've had?
Some of the oh my gosh, I had no idea moments are actually when the baby's first born, especially a first baby. Like, that is actually my favorite part, is to watch how the couple just change and mold into each other
Right.
in any ways. But it's afterwards at the postpartum meeting where I really get to hear like how they felt about things.
Right.
And definitely felt a lot more confidence, and they didn't realize they were going to be bombarded with these decisions, and that I helped, facilitate that and advocate
Right.
for them. So
Right.
there's a lot of that. But yeah, I think especially with first baby, again, you don't really know what to expect. You
Right.
can get all the education you want, you can read all the books you want, but not until you're in it do you really understand.
Right. Well, I remember for us in the hospital, it was just like, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're going, and my wife is like, she was questioning.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's very sharp. She's, anyway, she was, that whole experience the first time was like, what's happening to us, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you're getting told this is the way it's going to be.
Yes.
And we were more like, wow, what could we have done differently? Of course, we learned later,
Right.
thanks to the Bradley classes, of everything was able to be changed.
It is.
And then finding a team that we put together was really important, of course, to go along with what we desired to have.
Right.
And, and I thought it was kind of funny that people were all worried about us having a home birth, when I was like, dudes, we've survived thousands of years
Yeah.
having births wherever.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't need to be in this nice shiny room someplace with a lot of sterile instruments. It's
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And it comes down to something as simple as putting the gown on. I had a client who was really upset afterwards. She did not want to wear that hospital gown. The nurse told her, go in the room, change, put this gown on. So she did it because she thought that's what she has to do. That's what she
Right.
was told to do. But she hated it the whole time. And that affected her psyche during her labor. And
oh
so
yeah,
little things like that I've
Yeah.
added into my prenatal meetings.
not
just
eating,
mentioning-
not drinking, all that stuff
Yes.
is like what?
You don't have to wear the gown. You can wear whatever you want. You can be naked if you want
Sure.
to. Yes. And the eating thing, they are coming around to that. The whole idea behind that is if they have an emergency C-section.
Right.
But you need some nutrition
Right.
to help with the energy to get through labor.
Yeah, my wife was popping this pill called Overdrive. It's made for endurance athletes.
Mhm.
They made it especially for the Olympics. And she was chugging. I don't know how many she chugged over 32 hours, but it was probably a couple every hour.
Protein shakes.
And she had electrolyte drinks, and she was
Mhm.
she had, I think there was some kind of a shake drink she'd had, and
Yeah, you got to stay hydrated too.
she had because 32 hours, that
That's
was
a long time.
long time to be
Yes.
dehydrated. I mean, you think you're dehydrated, your brain's not working,
Yes.
it's
yes.
really kind of cruelty for you and the baby.
And you're more tired. You
Yeah.
don't have that physical energy.
Right.
Mhm.
So let's have happy, healthy babies and feel good about it, right?
Exactly.
So, can you tell everyone how they can get a hold of you again if they're going to have a birth and they want to have a doula, a cheerleader?
Yes, if you want to get a hold of me, my number is 208-869-7268.
So, I've noticed something when we had our third child,
Mhm.
age 40. My wife had got on a nutritional supplement called Life Pack Prenatal,
Okay.
and that was a completely different birth
Mm-hmm.
and completely different scores. And all the women we knew that used that product, we have it here at Living Waters Wellness Center. I've been using those products personally for 30 years, their supplement line. But, having good quality vitamins and minerals is really, really important.
Super important.
And so I find a lot of women wait till they're pregnant, then decide to get on nutritional supplements. In reality, you should be doing that
Long beforehand.
year beforehand,
Mhm.
6 months beforehand. Yeah, get your body functioning at its best. My daughter did that. She had the birth tub in her home, do the water, the water birth and so forth. She had all the stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
and made a big difference.
Yes.
And then what I hear you saying is using the encapsulations of the placenta is really good for that, preventing that postpartum depression.
Absolutely. Again, you're putting all those nutrients and hormones and iron back into your body. As a new mom, you don't have that crash. It helps with milk production, helps with bonding with the baby. It's going to help your energy levels, all of which is a part of avoiding those baby blues and seeping into that postpartum depression, which is so common for a lot of new moms, unfortunately. And new moms being at home alone with the baby don't always recognize it or get the help that they need.
Right.
So encapsulating the placenta is a great way to help prevent that from happening.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being here on the show today. You've been listening to how to use a doula, having a birth with a doula, whether at the hospital or in a birthing center or at home. And Karina, give again your number one more time.
Yes, again, my number is 208-869-7268.
And again, if you missed any part of the show, go to the wholebodydetoxshow.com. That's the website where our podcast is at. Or you can go over to livingwaterscleanse.com. We have them archived there as well. We also have the video, The 4 Natural Laws of Healing, which if you want to have the greatest birth experience in your world, get your body detox now. Get that liver healthy. Get all the things firing and wiring in your gut, and you'll have a wonderful birth. And anyway, I enjoyed talking to you guys today. I'll see you next week. You have a blessed week. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.